Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to cut the chair legs, the 4 chair legs, and the 2 back portions of the chair. I'm going to grab this little example over here that's unfinished. So we're going to be cutting these 2 5-centimeter pieces and these 4 4.5-centimeter pieces. Okay, that's what we're going to be cutting. And I've got some that are already cut here, and these are the 4.5 and then the 5-centimeter. And we're going to be doing that. We're going to be cutting them out of these meat skewers. Now, these are just the regular old meat skewers. They're made out of bamboo that you can get at the grocery store or just about any place else that sells barbecuing stuff, I guess. And you'll look at some of these. Some of these are a little like, that's too crunchy. Don't use that. They're all going to be not completely round. Or they aren't going to be like all super straight. So I just tend to go through and choose the ones that are not munched up or look gross. The nice thing about this particular supply that you'll need is you may already have these in your kitchen drawer. You don't have to spend anything on them. So I want to show you how I do the measuring for these and the cutting. And I'm looking again because I thought I saw something I didn't like. I'm going to move those 2 up. I'm going to use this one. Okay. Now, let's see if I can get down here. And maybe... Oh, this lighting. Oh, it'll be the death of me. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to try to not blind you. I've got my ruler, my metal ruler. And I am taking the bamboo all the way to the end where the first bit of this, the first mark is for the 1st centimeter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it against here. If I could get this. It's weird to do this while I'm trying to like talk to you. I'm going to hold it against, and then I'm going to find 4.5, and I'm going to make a mark. Now I can also just come up here and, okay, 4.5 and 4.5 is 9. Sorry. I'm going to mark it 9 and move down. Put the mark right there. Put them right close together and do 4.5 and 9. You can actually get 5 pieces out of this if you want to. It depends on how many chairs you're making. I always like to have an extra couple of legs or extra couple of pieces just in case. So you might want to go ahead and cut that. So, for each chair, you're going to need 1 of these bamboo skewers just for the legs. Now, this is the part that is a little odd. I could use this super fancy tool here, but it's kind of like using a sledgehammer to kill a fly. I'm not going to use this tool. It's too big. I'm actually going to use my blade. Now, it took me a long while to figure out how to do this. And I don't know if that's just because I'm not very bright or that I need to work through absolutely everything. When I first started doing this, my natural inclination was to cut it this way. Chop, 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 chop. Doesn't work that way. My cuts were really uneven. I would try to roll them back and forth, and the blade would roll that way and then roll that way, and I would get really uneven cuts. So what I discovered was that you can see the mark right there. I'm going to put the blade right there. You can see I've got it extended about 2 or 3. I'm going to do 1 more. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the blade right there, and I'm holding it. And now I'm going to take my fingers and hold it here on the top, and I'm going to press down and go back and forth. And it snapped right off, and it snapped pretty clean. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to put it right on the mark. I'm going to take my fingers, and I'm holding the top part. I'm nowhere near the cutting blade. And I go back and forth, and I'm pressing down. And I'm going back and forth, and back and forth. And sometimes it'll take a couple of times back and forth, and then ka-snap, it comes right off. I'm going to go ahead and quickly do these. 1, 2, 3. There we go. because I want to talk about sanding. Now, you'll need 2 back pieces as well. And you'll need another piece of bamboo for that. So let's do this again, this measuring. I'm going to look at that. I don't like that piece. I tend to get really picky about things, certain things. So let's try this again. A little closer up so you can actually kind of see it a little bit better. Got them lined up. Ah, crud on a, can you see that little piece right there? Crud. Do not like that. This one's not too bad. Occasionally you'll find them where they've got kind of this little nubby patch here. Those are usually okay. Let's see, line it up. This is so much easier when I'm not filming it. 4.5, 9. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to do 4.5. I want to do 5. Well, guess what? I can do that much easier. Okay, messed up. Let's go back. I feel like I'm Julia Childing here. It's okay. I messed up. 5, 10, 15, and 20. Nope, wait a minute. Move that down just a little bit. 20. So I can put this here. I'm going to take my blade and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. This one's going to take a little longer, and it'll snap right off. So what are we going to do with these pieces? Now, you have some options, especially, oops, I don't like doing it like that. I like knowing where the blade is, that I've got more control over it. Okay, now these 2 pieces are the pieces that are going to go in the back. Now you have a choice. What you can do is just leave them flat. I'm going to take the part that grates or has a little bit more grit to it. Okay, and I can make them just flat. Okay, let me do that on both ends. Or, because I knew I would do this to all the legs as well. And again, this goes so quickly. This is not something that, or if you want to do them all at once, you can kind of bundle them up, and if you have a big piece of sandpaper, you can just kind of go shh, 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 shh. I generally do mine one at a time because I'm weird. Now, if you want to, you can make them a little bit more nubbly, meaning you can take off the corners. And you can see I'm just knocking this part off, the little edges off. And I keep kind of going around and around. Can you see how I'm starting to knock that off? Now, if you're using a wood dowel, you could even carve onto this a little bit. In fact, I'm a little interested in doing some more carving. But you can see how I kind of rounded that out. Let's look at the difference. Can you see the difference? And that didn't take very long at all. Now, that's especially if you would like them to poke out of the top and you want the little nubbly part poking out. You don't have to do that. This is your chair. You can do anything you want to it. Now, this brings me to the chair, the 2 back pieces for the chair that you've made out of cardboard, and need to kind of work around. Meaning, remember when I showed you this piece? And I'm like, okay, you need to make this. This is actually frightfully easy to make. If I can get this to focus, you can see I took a little notch out of there. It's really easy to do. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So these are the 2 other pieces that I made. And I'm going to come up here and make a mark See how I'm coming down just probably about 1.5 millimeters, almost 2 millimeters. And I'm going to mark where I want to make that little like shelf cut. And then I'm going to hold it right next to the other piece. I'm going to hold them together and I'm going to make, and then I'm going to do this. Now you're asking, why am I doing that? Why am I making that little X above the, okay, come on, focus, baby. Come on, there we go. Because I want to cut this part off. This part, not this part. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down. Now remember, we always want to stay away from anything that can bleed. And I'm holding it, and I'm going to extend my blade, and I'm going to make a little cut. Just a little one. I'm not even going all the way through. I think I just cut just enough. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch, and I'm going to cut to the cut. I forget what this is called in wood carving, but it's kind of a stop. So I can't carve any, it's like, it's a little speed bump. And then I cut down. Okay, I'm going to hold you. Can you see how much I've cut there? I still have quite a bit to go. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it around, extend a little bit more of my blade, get my thumb out of the way, and I'm going to put my thumb up here because I can hold it better with my thumb. Bamboo will kind of, you can see how it's just kind of peeling away. Bamboo is such a miraculous thing to work with. You can make so many different things out of it. And you can see I've started carving more of that away. Now I come back, I'm going to carve down, press down a little bit deeper, change, put my thumb back, and that little piece went flying. Can you see how I'm getting more and more of a little shelf? A little place where the cardboard can rest and be glued. Now at this point, I will stop and then take off a little on the sides. I can now at this point carefully, again, trying to do this without cutting myself on camera. Relaxing my rule about cutting towards myself for a second. And again, if you're using a dowel, I think this might be a tad easier because the wood will be a little softer. Most of the time I end up with a little bit too much at this end. So I end up doing a lot more, you know, getting rid of stuff along here. So I'm going to stop at this point. And then I'm going to grab my emery board. And then the thing about bamboo is, number one, it's pretty plentiful. If you break this or do it the wrong way the first time, grab another stick. You're not like breaking the bank here. Number two, it's a lot stronger than you think it is. So you can see here, now I have a bit of a shelf on which this piece can now rest and be glued. I might carve just a tiny bit more, but it's all up to you how you want to do that. And with this one, after it's completed, you can go ahead and just glue it straight on. I still need to add the veneering around here. And in fact, I'm going to add the veneering, and then I'll show you again how you can clip it and do it really easily. So that's two different ways that you can do this. I think it's something that everybody can do. It's something that you can do. And I think that I'm going to come up with, again, if I get this to focus, some additional ways to do this. Perhaps using, didn't mean to hit that. some of the craft sticks as well. So that is how you cut the bamboo for your chair, and then an alternative way to make the back of the chair bamboo.